Most drone pilots keep this tiny square on the ground, and it's the reason why their map fail quality checks. On the surface, everything looks perfect. You've got full coverage, tight overlap and crisp images. But what if I told you your map could be still off by a foot, even using a high-end RTK drone? I ran a real-world test to find out, and what I discovered surprised me. Everything should have lined up, but it didn't. And the reason why matters more than you think. After reviewing hundreds of drone mapping projects, I can tell you, skipping GCPs is the #1 hidden mistake that wrecks accuracy, budgets, and trust. So in this video, I'm going to show you why GCPs still matter even with high-end RTK drones, the simple planning strategy to place them for maximum accuracy, and how to use them right without slowing down your field workflow. And if you're wondering why this target looks a bit strange, I will explain that later in the video. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but my drone has RTK. Do I really need GCPs? Well, I had the same question, so I decided to test it for myself. I ran a real-world survey using only RTK, no GCPs, and measured 6 control points on site to see how accurate the results really were. And what I found? Let's find out. To give you a bit of context for this test, I surveyed this construction site a few months ago with both the DJI Mavic 3 Enterprise and the Emily Reach RS3 connected to the same local base station to avoid base error. Using a bipod and the Emily GNSS, I surveyed 6 targets spread across the site using 3 minutes average observation for each point. After that, I flew the Mavic 3 Enterprise survey mission in RTK mode, connected to the same base station as the GNSS rover, and later imported the photos in Pixel. I also imported from Emily Flow the 6 target survey on site, marked them as manually on each photo, and set them as checkpoints so they will not be taken in consideration when I will process the drone data. I processed the images using the trusted location and orientation pipeline. Internal confidence was set to high, and the point cloud DSM and orthomosaic reconstruction settings were set also to high. After processing, I exported the quality report where we can see the errors. As you can see, all data has been calibrated and the only red flag is on the checkpoints. Geolocation error on the internal parameter is maximum 11 millimeters or 1.1 centimeter according to the report. But when we scroll down to the checkpoints to see, the real positioning error is up to 117 millimeters or 11.7 centimeters. Given the fact that I used the same local base station, the difference was supposed to be 20-30 millimeters maximum. But why is this happening? Why do we have this kind of error? Well, it's something that nobody tells you. When you fly a drone for mapping, you are capturing hundreds or thousands of overlapping images from above. Later, mapping software stitches those images together, kind of like assembling a giant puzzle using the data from the drone sensors to estimate where each image was taken. Enterprise drones use RTK GNSS to track their position and IMU to track orientation like roll, pitch, and yaw. This method is called direct georeferencing. It allows the drone to estimate its location and orientation in real time without GCPs, at least in theory. But here's the catch. These systems aren't flawless. RTK can drift due to weak satellite signals or interference. IMU can build up orientation errors during flight, and altimeters might misread elevation when atmospheric conditions change. So even with all the tech, you can still end up with a map that looks great, but it doesn't line up with reality. That's exactly why you need GCPs when you survey using drones. They're precisely measured points on the ground that help calibrate your map and correct any drift or distortion, especially during aerial triangulation. In fact, I made another video where I surveyed the same site using only a consumer drone without RTK, using only GCPs, and the error was only 30-40 millimeter. First, choose targets that stand out in the drone images. They should be high contrast and size right for your GCD or ground sampling distance. Good options include checkerboard patterns, which are easy to spot from the air. Circular targets have great visibility and accuracy. Coded targets are automatically detected by software like Pix4D, Reality Capture and Agisoft. Natural points like manhole covers, sidewalk corners or painted road marks. By the way, these targets were sent by Georg from RS System for testing. If you're curious how they perform, hit subscribe button and I will be covering that in another video. But picking the target is just a start. Your GCPs also need to be measured with high precision using GNSS equipment. Some of the best practices include take multiple independent GNSS observations for each point at different times of the day using different satellite geometry. Record each point for at least 180 seconds in open area or longer if the area is obstructed. Here's a few placement guidelines to keep in mind. Surface choice matter. Stick to flat, uniform areas like pavement, sidewalks, or compacted dirt. Avoid vegetation, curbs, or steep slopes. Avoid obstruction. Don't place GCPs under trees, in shadows, or near vehicles or buildings. Anything that blocks GPS signals or the drone's camera can ruin the point. Checkpoints. Make sure you include enough independently survey 3D checkpoints to validate your results. A solid number, well distributed, gives you reliable accuracy reports. Match site geometry. For long, narrow sites like roads or pipelines, you will need GCPs every 6-8 clusters of photos along the path. For block-style areas, place them along the perimeter and include a few inside to lock down the interior. Do you remember that other video I mentioned where I flew the same site using just a basic consumer drone, no RTK, and using only GCPs? Still got better accuracy than using only an RTK drone. That video proves it's not only about the drone, it's about the workflow. Click here to watch and you will see why chasing the latest gear won't fix your bad habit.